The Power of Moments: Why Certain Experiences Have Extraordinary Impact by Chip and Dan Heath explores how life and work can be enriched by the creation of special experiences. These defining moments encompass people's most meaningful experiences and encounters and can deepen relationships among individuals, organizations, and customers. By understanding the architecture of such moments, it's possible to engineer them instead of leaving them purely to chance. Defining moments can take three forms: peaks, pits, and transitions. Peaks are celebratory moments that help punctuate life and work. A peak can occur in the broad context of a life, like a wedding, or in the context of a discrete period of time, like a special meal during a vacation. Pits are negative experiences, which can be as mundane as bad customer service or as profound as the death of a close friend. Transitions are periods of change, which can be positive, negative, or neutral. People tend to measure their levels of satisfaction in terms of defining moments, even though such experiences are sporadic. For example, a family's memory of a vacation does not represent a mathematical average of their day-to-day experiences. Instead, people tend to remember the vacation's best and worst moments. One terrible experience can sully an otherwise decent vacation. Alternatively, one fantastic experience can salvage a generally terrible trip. There are four key elements that can be manipulated to engineer a defining moment. They are elevation, insight, pride, and connection. Elevation involves leveraging surprise and delight to craft a special experience. When it comes to customer service, organizations tend to emphasize fixing pits when they should focus on manufacturing peaks. Generally, improving a satisfied customer's experience is more likely to increase revenue than fixing an unhappy customer's experience. Companies should devote less time to complaints and invest more effort in creating exceptional experiences. The second element of a defining moment, insight, focuses on engineering epiphanies. Employees can be guided towards moments of insight, but ultimately, they must arrive at the truth on their own. Insight is achieved by trying something new and risky. For individuals, insight is its own reward, even if the venture fails. Pride, which is the third element, celebrates achievements. Setting milestone goals helps boost pride in oneself and within a team. Celebrating small accomplishments with something as simple as informal praise helps boost morale in others and build momentum for the group. The fourth and final element of a defining moment is connection, which can be cultivated through a shared experience or cause. There are three ways to enhance connections between people within a group. One is a synchronized moment, such as an all-hands meeting held off-site. Another is uniting people in struggle, whether it's meeting an overly ambitious deadline or completing an obstacle course on a team retreat. Finally, connection can be inspired by emphasizing shared purpose. For example, all employees at a hospital, from food service workers to highly specialized surgeons, can unite under the purpose of making patients' lives better. Creating a defining moment, or even spotting the opportunity to create one, requires special effort, but it's sure to yield powerful personal and organizational rewards. There are three types of defining moments: peaks, pits, and transitions. Defining moments come in three forms: peaks, pits, and transitions. These can be conceptualized as life's highs, lows, and periods of change. In the life of an actor, for instance, there might be many peaks, including his first film and his biggest box office success. He may also experience pits such as a film that flops or a struggle with drug addiction. Finally, the actor might experience a transition such as a shift from film work into stage acting or moving into retirement. Savvy business people must seek out opportunities to create peaks in the customer experience. A common example would be the way in which some restaurants offer free dessert or other perks to diners celebrating a birthday. Pits, such as customer service failures, should be filled. For example, Amazon Prime customers may receive a promotional credit or a free month's Prime membership if a package is delivered late. Transitions should be marked in some way, which will vary according to the circumstance. In the case of buying a home, the real estate agent may mark the sale by giving the buyers a gift basket or a bottle of champagne. A common pit is a death in the family, and here businesses have the option either to help customers through a difficult time or to add to their hardship. One horror story reported by the Washington Post described a woman who lost her husband before they had the opportunity to go on a Viking River cruise. Many customers in similar situations asked for refunds, but this woman merely asked to bring a friend to take her late husband's spot, for which she had already paid. The cruise line said that the last-minute change was fine, but that it would cost almost $1,000 in fees. In other words, instead of filling the pit, Viking River Cruises dug the pit even deeper. This practice is not unusual. Even airlines that offer refunds for deceased passengers make the process so difficult that bereaved family members often can't complete the work to get the refund. A better practice would be to accommodate customers in a way that acknowledges the pit of their loss while trying to make the experience as easy and pleasant as circumstances allow. Defining moments tend to make or break the customer experience. Defining moments are what make customers' experiences memorable. Generally speaking, people forget most details of their daily activities. It's the defining moments, which can be either terrible or great, that give life shape and meaning. The same principle holds true in customer service. Most service-related experiences are forgettable, but a few will be memorable in some way, whether it's positive or negative. To help make sure the defining moment is positive, organizations can manipulate the 4 building blocks of defining moments: elevation, insight, pride, and connection. A defining moment can consist of one element, all 4 elements, or some combination of them. In the era of viral posts on social media, the stakes of customer service successes and failures are higher than ever before. In 2017, United Airlines received a powerful blow to its reputation when a video of a passenger being dragged off an overbooked flight by law enforcement officers quickly spread via the internet. Other companies have harnessed the same forces to much more positive effect. Morton's, the steakhouse chain, surprised a customer who had joked on Twitter that he hoped someone from the restaurant would meet him at the airport with a porterhouse steak. Upon landing, the customer, Peter Shankman, was surprised to find a Morton's employee with a steak and other treats in hand. The incident has reached near legendary status on the internet, a modern form of word-of-mouth advertising. Elevation can be manipulated by appealing to the senses, by raising the stakes, and by injecting an element of surprise. Individuals and businesses can leverage the element of elevation to help build a defining moment. There are 3 ways to boost elevation: appeal to the 5 senses, raise the stakes, and defy expectations. A moment defined through elevation usually requires at least 2 of these tactics. Danny Meyer, a New York City restaurateur, is famous for his prowess in elevating his customers' experience. In his memoir Setting the Table, Meyer describes many instances in which he provided a unique and memorable dining experience. In one instance, a thoughtful head waiter at 11 Madison Park went to exceptional lengths to make sure a couple celebrating their anniversary at the restaurant had a good experience. When the husband confessed he had left a nice bottle of champagne in his freezer at home, the waiter traveled to the couple's apartment to rescue it. As a surprise, he left complimentary chocolates and caviar with the champagne, a gesture that elevated the favor with serious sensory appeal. Meyer raised the stakes when he opened several eateries in the Museum of Modern Art. He hoped to bring his restaurant's signature flair to the spaces, but he faced many challenges, including the lack of an open flame in the kitchen. He elevated customers' experiences by eradicating some of the common pain points from other museum eateries, such as unwieldy trays and plastic packaging. Some of the spaces even displayed incredible works of art from the museum's collection. Meyer and his team have frequently defied their customers' expectations in a good way. For example, Meyer instructed his staff at Tabla to go beyond the call of duty for a diner who left her mobile phone and wallet in a taxi. While she ate lunch with a friend, the staffers surprised her by tracking down the items and retrieving them. By venturing completely outside the restaurant's wheelhouse of food and drink, Meyer created a high-impact moment while incurring very low costs. The result was priceless word-of-mouth advertising. One tactic for boosting pride is to break down a lofty goal into many discrete milestones. Pride is one of the 4 elements of a defining moment. Pride can be boosted by transforming one large, lofty goal into a series of specific milestones. In recent years, this has been a common strategy in fitness initiatives. For example, the data-driven device maker Fitbit sells a glorified pedometer that helps users get fit by offering badges and rewards to commemorate different milestones calibrated to the number of steps taken. When users reach their daily goal, many Fitbits will light up, vibrate, or otherwise celebrate the achievement in some way. The reward system that Fitbit uses relies on a popular business strategy called gamification. Gamification takes a banal activity like walking and uses game-like rewards to build excitement and motivation. Many fitness-related mobile phone apps use gamification to encourage people to use a product or service. Gamification can be as simple as rewarding children with stickers when they complete their chores. But smartphones have created new, expansive gamification opportunities for businesses. Apps use badges, points, leaderboards, and other game-like features to draw users. In 2012, gamification was named a popular management trend by outlets, including The New York Times and The Economist. Gamification, which is still a popular tactic 5 years later, has proven to be a lasting strategy rather than just a fad. The feeling of satisfaction that smartphone users derive from these game-like features leverages their sense of personal pride to meet goals that might not be their own, that is, to meet the sales goals of third-party vendors. Pride can be further boosted by offering recognition and practicing courage. These tactics help create defining moments. When people take pride in their work, they're more likely to perform well. Companies have attempted to leverage this to create defining moments. As recently as 2013, more than 80% of companies were using some sort of award program such as Employee of the Month. However, research suggests that these programs can in fact be demotivating, which is of course the opposite of their intended effect. Employees might perceive injustice in how the programs are administered, which leads to negative sentiment. Researchers have found that employees will adapt their work or game the system in such a way that winning becomes more important than the quality of the work itself, which often has negative consequences for overall performance. Simple acts of recognition are more effective than formal award programs in boosting employees' pride. Appreciation should be expressed frequently, and personalized comments often prove more effective than formal incentive programs. Another way to build pride is to cultivate courage. Increasingly, researchers recognize that courage is a learned skill, not an innate quality. Generally speaking, courage isn't a matter of erasing fear. It is more a process of learning to manage it. One way to cultivate courage is to practice it. For example, Navy SEAL trainees are put through a program called Survival, Evasion, Resistance, Escape School, which includes a days-long hostage simulation. The exercise is meant to build stamina and savvy so SEALs can keep a cool head if they find themselves in a similar situation later during a real mission. Practicing courage is essential for leaders who wish to promote ethical, cool-headed behavior in their place of work. Group insights aren't necessarily impromptu epiphanies. They can be prompted. Insights are powerful experiences, and as such they can help build defining moments. Many people conceptualize moments of insight as epiphanies that materialize out of thin air. In fact, insights can be prompted. Julia Galef, co-founder of the Center for Applied Rationality, a nonprofit organization that educates people on the science of decision-making, elicits insights by keeping a record she calls a surprise journal. She uses the journal to make a note of any piece of information that catches her off guard. The entries help her formulate deeper insights into her own work by interrogating her methods and identifying false assumptions. A risk that insular organizations run is creating a bubble in which everyone shares the same assumptions and biases. At Microsoft, for instance, engineers created a nearly unusable tool, Azure, without realizing it had an impractical user interface. After approaching the tool from the user's perspective during a theatrical exercise, they immediately grasped the need for a redesign. Similar insights can be engineered when individuals or teams approach their work from the perspective of an outsider. This tactic can be an act of imagination, as when the Azure team pretended to be users instead of engineers. But it can also be executed by shifting employees around the company. For example, a restaurateur who owns several eateries might offer staff at one restaurant complimentary dinners at one of the other restaurants. Such employees are effectively transformed into expert consultants. Their bias is eliminated since they don't personally work in the restaurant. At the same time, they are particularly well positioned to judge whether or not the company's standards are being met. Individual moments of insight often come from situations in which one stretches one's skills and in so doing risks failure. Personal insights can often be derived from experiences that are a test of mettle. However, trying new things is often much more difficult than it may seem at first glance. Many people mistakenly believe that there is only one true career path that will suit their interests, values, and abilities. In fact, there are many. Instead of envisioning one's employment as either a true or false calling, it's better to think of a job as a prototype. The most important characteristic of a prototype is that it can always be refined. No version is necessarily final. When people consider different forms of work, it's often seen as an intellectual exercise. One effective means of stretching is to actually try new types of work. Rolling up one's sleeves and taking action inspires more insights than creating theoretical models. Connection can be built through group experiences and shared struggle, or by tapping into the meaning of the work for the entire team. A connected workforce excels at teamwork and routinely hits high-performance metrics with regard to productivity, efficiency, and quality. Many people mistakenly believe that time is the key ingredient in building relationships, but relationships can be deepened and strengthened quickly in certain circumstances. One such circumstance is a synchronized moment such as a company-wide conference. Groups bond when they experience some sort of communal struggle, but hardship is not a necessity for connection. It's just as effective for people to work toward a shared goal, even if the work is performed in silos. Management theorist Daniel Pink believes that, increasingly, employees are driven more by values than traditional rewards and punishments like bonuses or demotions. Organizational psychology has shifted from a relatively harsh carrot and stick philosophy to the more romantic notion that workers are deeply vested in the meaning of the work they perform. By simply emphasizing the organization's mission, managers may improve their employees' performance while strengthening relationships among team members.